Good afternoon, everyone. This is Chuck Roscoe with Cybra Corporation, here with Ken Hunter. Ken, say
Hi.
hello.
Hi, everyone.
So we got 30 minutes here for our super fast webinar to show all you folks some new things that we introduced in MarkMagic 9.5, which was actually released back in May. And there's a ton of you folks on this webinar. So for the next 30 minutes, you're going to be muted. I apologize for that, but just the sheer volume of people, we couldn't have everybody talking. But you can ask Ken and myself questions. You can just type in the little chat window, or excuse me, question window, type them up. And if we have time, which I'm not sure if we will, especially as long-winded as I am being already, if we'll have time at the end, we'll answer those questions. If not, we'll get back to you with answers immediately afterwards. First, important date right here, November 1st. Today is Ken Hunter's birthday. So I know you're all saying happy birthday to him right now. So that's great. He's been with us for a long time too. So it's been a great asset. I'm sure you all know Ken.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So with that, why don't we get started? Well, you know what? I'm going to get started in a second. Prevail's coming up next week. That was like part of this invite. We wanted to kind of show you folks some new things in MarkMagic, kind of wet your whistle, so to speak, because I'm sure many of you will be going to Prevail down in Nashville. I will be there, Chuck Roscoe, as well as Erin Kennedy. I'm sure most of you folks know her as your account rep. This is, if you haven't seen it anywhere or yet, this is part of the layout there at the Gaylord in Nashville. Right over here is where you're going to register. Cybra will have a booth right here, number 15. That's where Erin and I will be hanging out. And we're also, Cybra's presenting both days in the afternoons, Thursday and Friday. So please feel free, come by, ask us questions, chit chat, and watch us in action. So now let's get started. What are we gonna do today in rapid fire fashion? Talk about a little bit about MarkMagic itself, because this is a great opportunity for us that you're kind of a captive audience, that you're all VAI S2K customers, and some of you are brand new. So Ken's going to give a little bit of an overview of some of that in a second. I'm going to give an overview of the product itself. Again, super fast, some of the new stuff in 9.5. Then we're going to go in live mode. A lot of companies wouldn't use, live, product showing people, but that's not how we roll here at Cybra. So all this is going to be live. VAI was kind enough to send us some of their actual formats that they ship to you, actually all their formats, along with some sample spool files. So Ken's going to get in and show you some of the S2K MarkMagic integration, where things are, again, really fast. Then he's going to get into the live formats. I think you're going to pick on the PO format and the invoice format and start showing you some changes that you probably didn't know you could make now, even on an older version of MarkMagic. But then he's going to get into showing you some of the new things you can do starting in 9.5, where there's ovals, there's arcs and circles and stuff like that, different lines with different ends. Again, kind of, minor stuff, but it's kind of nice features to jazz up your forms and your PDFs. As well as a new feature we call URL linking and also editing of PDF. So if you send out like an order form to an account, you can actually within MarkMagic have them type in like order information, instead of the handwriting on there. That's all part of 9.5. Then he's going to make some of these formats smart using Print Transformer, which is the conditions, and also a rule set to show formats going to maybe a different printer, where a certain time at night you need to use a different printer than the main printer. Or you need multiple copies printed in one spot and another spot. Anyway, he's going to show you that. I'm going to show you real quick one new feature we're working on our next mod level of 9.5. And then we're going to hopefully have time for questions. So my last slide, or last two slides before I hand it over to Ken, is Cybra. We are the owners of MarkMagic, the developers of the product. We've been partners with VAI for over 20 years, and VAI, it's a great partnership, and they did a fantastic job of integrating MarkMagic with S2K or System 2000. I go back that far. And they have developed over the years what they call a bundle, which is, in MarkMagic terms, is a MarkMagic Enterprise license, which lets you do electronic forms and label printing, taking database from an AS400 spool file or a database file. And they also included our PDF option. So that allows you to create anything you can print in MarkMagic, not just forms, but also labels. You can PDF them right from the AS400 and email them out. So I would imagine everyone on this line has that. And you have a development license, which allows you to make changes to forms. So, which Ken will show you some of you newcomers what JMagic is. In 9.5, this is just some of the new features, and we're just going to highlight when Ken gets involved the things that we see as important to you against the VAI forms. Color printing. This one over here on the right, this Epson ColorWorks printer. I make sure everybody's aware of this because you couldn't do this before. We've actually added a new print driver in MarkMagic that'll print on a label printer, so 4x6-inch labels or whatever. This Epson printer is actually color. It's super fast, and you can stick them on your boxes, on your products, and all that. I mean, we've all used the thermal printers where it's black and white. You can actually do color now, and it's really neat. We also have support for this bagging printer, which actually it prints, puts things in a bag, and it heat seals it, but there's a print engine for that. That's all part of it. And these other pieces Ken's going to talk about. So I will stop blabbing and give Ken control. Just a second here. My attendee list. Staff, Ken Hunter. Make presenter.
All right.
Thanks, Ken.
So you should see my command line right now. You just run a command line there. Yeah, so MarkMagic is basically just VAI's print engine. We're sitting there waiting for their product to call us, call our commands and tell us what to print, where to print it. And you get a full install of MarkMagic when you get their product. And you could even, at a command line right now, if anyone's just sitting there, can do start MarkMag command and just press enter and start up our software. So this is a full-blown install of MarkMagic that you would get if you just bought it off the street and want to install it and start printing labels on your own, which you can do. If you wanted to do something on the side, not necessarily integrated in S2K software, you could design your own labels and forms with this. Or you could even design new labels and forms and integrate them into the S2K software. So that's definitely doable too. But it's not like you're left dead in the water when you get S2K installed, because they definitely do ship a library full of formats that we call them their base forms and labels. And they sent us that library, nice of them, called R60mm. So this is another library that you would get when you get S2K and MarkMagic installed, R60mm. So I can switch MarkMagic to looking in that library right now. So I've basically got MarkMagic started in that library. And you can toggle F10 and see everything that's in there. A huge list of laser printer formats already pre-designed, invoice forms, packing lists, POs, and the primary driver that they used is HPLJ4P. And that's a black and white laser printer driver, very standard stuff. A lot of forms already designed under that, as you can see here. And there are a couple other drivers as well related to PCL color. You can see that there's been a couple already added here. And then there's also Zebra printer driver labels here. So ZTS 300 is one of our Zebra drivers, and they ship some labels that are already integrated in S2K as well. They print labels. There's a UCC shipping label, and there's some others in box labels. So it's not just limited to laser forms, for sure.
Yep, so, and you can PDF any of these forms or labels.
Yep, definitely. So we're going to look at a couple of forms in a different library, because you can see this is the base library that they ship. And what they recommend when you start getting in and using MarkMagic and customizing it, because you're probably not going to use the base forms as they are. You want to add your logos, switch things around, switch things up, and you'll see that how we can do a little bit of that in JMagic in a little bit. But before you do that, they highly recommend copying any of the base formats or labels that you want to make mods to into our R60mm mods library.
And another
so totally different library. Go ahead.
Yep, and another reason they ask you to do that is because if they send you an update of S2K, they're gonna ship you another R60mm, and if you made changes, you don't want your changes to get replaced with the default stuff. So it's another really good reason to use the mods library.
Yeah, so never make changes in the R60mm library.
Who would ever do that?
I don't know, Chuck, who would? So R60mm mods. So I'll switch over to that library. And if we look in that right now, it's a little bit barren. There's only 2 formats in it right now. These are the 2 formats that I'm going to show you, the PO and the invoice. But as you start customizing more and more forms will be in this library. And you can see we've got the PO under the HPLJ4P driver. The black and white driver, that's the standard one that you are shipped, everything's shipped under. But what I did for showing, I want to show off a little bit more of this stuff in 9.5, a little bit of the color and shapes. I've copied the invoice, VAI in DTA format, to HP PCL5C. It's our laser color driver. And I just used the format copy tool. Very simple to copy to a totally different device, HP PCL5C. And it just straight one-to-one copy from HPLJ4P to the color one. So when we open that one up later, you'll see now that there are a ton more options for adding color.
And that's also where you can choose the 2-user library too, where you can copy from MM to MM mods. Yeah. So, and this is maybe the end of the green screen. I don't know how much more green screen you're going to show. People are probably like, wow, they're doing 5250.
Yeah.
We like to show it's real. This is live.
Well, I'll show you another thing that's real is their data. So just to show you what VAI basically does is I did that before, didn't I? Work a spool file. What they do is they're just spitting out plain text in a spool file, held spool file. And they've sent us a few, and we look down here, and we look at, say, the PO spool file. Their program is really just creating these pages of plain text. And the spool file gets handed off to our program, MarkMagic, and the plain text is just stripped out line by line, column by column, and placed onto a MarkMagic designed form, which we'll check out right now.
Yeah, so how does all that happen, right?
So now I'm in JMagic now. No more green screen for the moment. So this is where you're going to do all your designing and developing of the forms because it's way better. We'll open the PO form for now.
And this is the live AS400 form. I mean, so JMagic connects directly to the AS400. You can see it down in the bottom left. There's our IP address for the system he's on and showing the actual format. When he saves things here, it saves right on the 400. There's no upload or download or any of that stuff.
So yeah, everything on here. This is one of the base PO forms. You get this. You get this format by default. I added a Cyber logo to it, and I've also added a couple of the new features in 9.5. Especially to this graphic up here. So when we create the PDF of it, you'll see something unique in the graphic. But everything up here is like its own little entity that you can drag, make bigger, change the font, change the point size, right click, change font, stuff like that, alignment. Everything you can resize using your mouse now. Even these box fields and line fields are all their own elements that you can drag around and reshape and resize. So everything's customizable. You can delete entire columns if you wanted to and reposition things and make more room for other data. So this JMagic view is super handy, super helpful for modifying and even making new forms from scratch for VAI. So a couple of the new 9.5 features when it comes to PDFs. So when we print this guy, because if I do a print preview, which is kind of skipped over that, I want to show you something really neat. In JMagic is another great ability to turn on print preview. Magnifying glass at the top here. If I browse out and choose a PO spool file that's out there, you saw that one before with all the plain text in it. Preview against that, and you can see there's 10 or so detail lines in that. That's what you get. We scroll to the bottom here and there's information there at the bottom. Everything's at the top. This is what it would look like if you printed it along with the graphic.
And preview is a great tool, like if you're going into a format like your current ones and you make changes to it, because you can make changes to them and then go through the system and print them out or PDF them to yourself, or you can just preview them right there on the screen and then change whatever you want to change. I think and we like to use preview when we do demos because it shows you really quick. We don't have to go and grab another file and then scan in a printout. Everyone wants to wait for that.
I changed the font size a little bit. You know, maybe those were a little bit too small before. Now it's a little bit easier to read. So that's awesome stuff to be able to just preview right there. And maybe I made it too big and the wording overlapped this barcode. So stuff like that. It's very handy in the preview. So, but when we make a PDF of that, there's a couple enhancements that you can add to the PDF. And if you look at this logo and check here, there's enable PDF URL encoding.
That's brand new for 9.5. That's 9.5. Yep.
And it allows me to just tie the graphic to a website URL. So when we create the PDF, you can just click that logo and it takes you to cyber.com.
And then I'm sorry, Ken. I know I keep driving people, but that link could be a variable link too. Like you could link it to products or to some landing page or some special promotion you're having or anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's not just a static info. It can be definitely variable information that you pass at print time. And then down here, another new thing by this signature section here, for those that want to sign it digitally, you can use our new editable text field on PDFs. So I just created a new text field, typed in some prompt information that they'll see when they open up the PDF, and then it's just a very simple usage choice down here. There's a usage menu, and I'm choosing editable text field with prompt. So when you create a PDF of this form, I've got it over here. Let me open it up. Here's that. When you saw the preview before, you might have thought I just opened the preview again. No, this is PDF output. So you can click this up here. If I were to click it, it would open up cyber.com. You can see that. The finger changed to a pointer there. And then down here is the editable text field. So if I'm happy with this,
there you go.
Enter, save it, send it back to the sender, and they have my signature now. So.
And that could be, you can have as many of those on the format as you want. You want your customer to type in a quantity for their order. It's like, yeah, hey, you know what? Make our format a little bit smarter and have those editable fields. So when we mail it to them, they can make those changes, save it, and send it back to me. Very professional.
Let me open up the invoice now. So this one's a little bit different. First of all, it's landscape. It's under the PCL5C driver. Remember before, so there's a little bit of splash of color here already. But you can add more color now. If you choose these, lasso these guys up, now when you right click and choose color, there's a whole list of colors here you can choose. Set them to blue, stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. So another neat thing in 9.5 are new shapes. So this box, boring. Let me get rid of this.
Who wants to see a box? Anybody could do a rectangle.
We'll add an oval on here now. One of the new shapes.
That's where it's at.
That new shape menu here, you saw there was various shapes, arcs, ovals, and circles. Let me drop that on there. Colors for the shapes as well. So a red oval, even shading, 30%.
Inside of it, yep.
Not bad. And then I believe there was the lines as well. If we click a new line here, I can drop one on here just to show the new options for lines, rounded ends, triangle ends. And those become much more apparent when you set the thickness of the line. So I can make this guy, 75 thickness, for example. And you can see, if you zoom in, everybody, you can see there's rounded ends there. So rounded and triangle ends.
Small stuff, but nice little touches to make your stuff look special.
But something that's definitely not small. If we do a print preview on this one, let's do a print preview. Keep your eye on the bottom of the form, though. So I'll do a print preview, browse out. Try to do this quick because I only have 10 minutes left and there's some really meaty stuff coming up. So if I hit OK on the invoice preview.
Oh, is our audio? Someone just sent me a thing saying the audio cut out.
Audio is cut out? I'll keep on going. Let me know. So I did the preview here and it shows that the bottom is drastically changed now and there's the word continued showing. And the rest of the format that used to show the totals and the taxes and subtotals are gone now. And if we go to the next page, you can see a text field showed up here, shipping's free. We'll talk about that. But then the rest of the form showed up at the bottom, and that's all handled with print transformer conditions. And just quickly show you a list of conditions up here. So basically, it's just a 3 conditions here that are handling all of that. And if we look at one of them, it's as simple as just saying, turn off all of these fields when something, and then turn on something else when something. So when the total is blank, we can turn all this stuff off down here. And when the total is not blank, then that's when you get the stuff turning on and off. So that's how that's handled. All these are the line fields. This green one here is that continued word there that turns on. And then even down here, free shipping. If I edit that one's on its own here because we wanted to actually test just that shipping information, which was 0. So when it's 0, we turn on your shipping's free, just to let everyone know that your shipping's free for that order. And when there's shipping greater than 0, then it's not going to show that, obviously. So that's handled by conditions. And the other half of print transformer, other than print transformer conditions, are the rule sets. And this is you can do a lot with rules. It's basically just allowing you to change how things print, where they print, when they print. A lot of stuff you can do with it, but here's a great example that a lot of VAI users want, is they want to print, redirect the printout to a different printer based on something, and they want to print a second copy, for example, for accounts payable, archiving, and whatnot. So this rule set is actually just testing data right on the form for salesman. Salesman 1, if it's salesman 1, it does something. If it's salesman 4, it does something. And if it's salesman 5, it'll redirect to salesman 5's printer. So basically we're saying if salesman is number 5, print to my printer. And if it's salesman number 4, it goes to Aaron's printer, and so on. So to this format, it's printing to salesman number 5, and you'll see it show up in my printer. And then we're using another great feature in print transformer rules called AND rules. And it allows us to run the first part, just like normal, and print another copy. So it's printing an AP copy to printer device AP. So it's basically getting 2 copies from one print job. So VAI calls us once, just like normal. You don't have to change anything on VAI side. They call us just normal, except you got this extra rule set attached to the printout. Now, this little extra logic happens before our output happens, and then you get an output to the salesman printer and to the AP printer. And I can show you that on the green screen side, because that's where all the magic happens when printing. If we get back into MarkMagic, and we go back to our print command, and you can see when our print command is ran and it has the rule set on it, that's how that happens. The rule set's attached to the regular old print command. And when we run this print job, it was so fast, I don't know if you saw it. We go and check out our spool files. You can basically see that, well, my test was here from before. Let me get rid of those. So we've got these 2 output just came out. The one printout that went to printer Ken, and then the other output, which went to PRT AP, the account payable printer. So that was done by the rules. So really cool stuff.
That was done with 0 programming. It was just the same printing that S2K always does. All you did was add a rule set, point and click, added a little bit of smarts to it, and now you're printing in different spots, and you could even email and archive somewhere. You can do multiple things with it. And it's really testing the live data. What's the data inside of that?
This second printout doesn't have to be printout. Could have been an email. And print an email. So we got a lot of people that want to print once and send an email. So that's how you can use it. Print transformer rule set using AND rules. So that's what I have for you. Really neat stuff.
I just wanted to ask on the condition part, Ken. Can you make, you showed some real basic stuff, and we always tell people when it comes to print transformer, which is an option within MarkMagic, that's not part of the bundle, that you're only limited really by your imagination, as far as like you're turning fields on and turning some on or turning some off. Really, everything's fair game, right? You can make you can test anything you want, look at different SKU numbers. If you see a SKU number, then print something. Hey, I see you ordered this and you may
Yeah.
want to order that. Like I'm just trying to think of a simple, basic thing we
Well,
could show
sure.
folks.
So that shipping and handling text, maybe you want to
Okay.
match this color here on the "You're shipping free," just to kind of get them to understand that that's related to that. So this free shipping here, for example, we can get in here. It's turning on the free shipping text, but well, let's add another one. Add action. We'll choose a text field and we'll start modifying. Um, we'll modify the shipping and handling text field right here directly.
Okay. All right.
Let me click OK on it. And rather than just basic toggling on and off
Look at
of the
this.
condition, using conditions, you can get in and drill down and start changing point size, change the font.
The position of it. You could do things with the barcodes, change the symbology of a barcode if you wanted to.
Change the color, change the styling.
So you're just going to make
You know,
italics and magenta. Okay.
So basically, we're turning on this text field, letting people know, hey, it's free, but we'll tweak this text field over here a little bit using conditions. So hit OK, and let me save my format. I'm happy with that. Turn on preview again. So continued. That's fine.
Let's go to the second page.
We'll go to the next page.
Oh, and there it is. Yeah.
Your shipping's free, 0.
Again, that's a simple, example of it, but you could have logos change. If you're printing from different companies, you can dynamically have your format change and make it look like a different company without making a new format. So we're looking at that data and dynamically changing the way things look, and you can even change where they go and how they PDF and all that. So that's all part of that little print transformer part. Okay. Very neat.
Excellent. Yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Yeah, awesome stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Or you can't see my screen. You can see it? Okay, very good. So the last little thing I wanted to show, and we're kind of getting towards the end, feel free to get those questions. We'll see if we can get them answered into us. I'm in JMagic as well, and I broke a bunch of rules that Ken already outlined to you. You can see I'm actually on that same server, but I opened up the VAI statement format, and I actually started making changes, and I kept it in R60mm. I don't know if you can see that down there. So I'm already breaking rules, but oh well. So here's the statement format. One of the things that we're working on in the next mod level of 9.5. Are you ready? I'm going to scroll down. That just happened. That's a pie chart, folks.
Whoa.
Right here. So here's another area where I ask you to use your imagination. I mean, I chose the statement format to add a pie chart, and you can PDF this and print this and all that. But you can use that in all kinds of areas, and you can do it in black and white as well. I chose color obviously because it looks a little bit nicer. But how does it work? It's really straightforward actually. If you're familiar with link fields within MarkMagic, we have a new thing. Again, this next model level will be available in about 2 weeks. It's still going to be 9.5, but this is one of the enhancements in the next model level of 9.5, and it's free to all you guys. You guys have annual support. You have that new option for a pie chart. You draw your big circle, basically. That's all that's showing here on this screen. All I did was drag and create that. But then we have this piece here called pie chart segments, and this is where the magic, so to speak, happens. So we do all the work for you in that it's looking at all the fields on this format, and there's probably hundreds of different fields that are already defined on the format, but it's looking for just the numeric fields. So all I did beforehand is I went into these data fields, which have probably been there for the last 15 years, and I put a 0 for decimals for them. That's just so they're seen as numeric. And then all I do is click and then insert them over here. So now these are making up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments. These are my 5 segments. And at print time, we do all the math. So in this case, well, I'll tell you the math in a second, but as far as coloring the segments, as you add them, you can change the fill or the shading. You can pick all the different colors. So you can see here, obviously, this is the blue one. The next one is lighter blue. Then as they get more and more, late, 60, it goes to orange. And this one here is 50% red, and so on. I think you got the idea. So that's how it's set up. And you can add, really, I don't know if is there a limit on the number of segments you can put in there, Ken?
There's a lot. You can, I think he said up to 100, but.
Up to 100? Yeah. I mean, it gets like crazy to even look at. Yeah, I know. But So there, it's defined. I can make it look, I can drag this thing, make it look bigger and smaller and all that. We hit save. And just as Ken was doing, I'll show you this. I actually have two records out there, or two, excuse me, spool files. So I could put this in preview mode. It's going out there. It's going out to AP and grabbing the spool file. And I'm going to grab all the pages. And you'll see it change, right? So just again, just so there's no smoke and mirrors here, is the real deal. You can see this dark blue is actually the current area, and they owe a lot for 30. Actually, let me zoom in a little bit. You can see it better. Just can't get enough of pie charts. So over 30, it's there, orange, and so on. Okay, if I go to the next record, I've changed the data. You'll see it's drastic. So this particular customer doesn't owe any currently. So that dark blue thing just disappears, and now it's only 4 segments, right? The 4 valid segments, and you can see how it changed accordingly. This company, what company is this? Oh, it's Just Belts. Oh, they're terrible. They're way behind. So if you see a lot of red, they're in arrears and they're in trouble. So that's coming very soon. We, happy to answer any questions on that, either today or certainly at Prevail. Or you can shoot us an email. Another thing, one last thing that we are working on that I'll mention, not in the next model level, but soon after, is we're calling it SQL Lookup, but it's what it really boils down to. I think you guys are aware, we didn't show it today, was the MarkMagic supports hybrid field lookups where you can take data from a spool file like customer number and use that customer number to look up other fields like in your database, you're on your AS400 and chain out and grab other data that's not even part of the spool file without any programming, which is really neat. One of the things we're going to be adding is we're going to extend that beyond the AS400 where you can connect actually to another database, another server, and grab data from it. So that's something that we're working on in the near future. I'm having trouble accessing the questions. Ken, do you see any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Where somebody asked about, I thought I saw something about training and then it disappeared, so I lost it. We do offer training, and you can speak to, you can certainly email us here at sales@cyber.com. Help@cyber.com goes to a pool of our support folks. Ken's in charge of that. Ask us any questions, and I appreciate your time. And feel free again, shoot some emails to help or any comments from this webinar or anything, new features or functions that you'd like to see in MarkMagic or JMagic down the road. We're always happy to look at those. And I think I will leave it at that. Thank you, everyone,
Awesome.
and enjoy your day. So long.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.